Whether you're thinking about listing soon or just want to understand how it actually works, we're going to cover everything from pricing and prep to marketing strategies and more. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. I'm Alan Taylor. I'm a top producing agent with Compass in the Sherman Oaks office. Been selling real estate in the San Fernando Valley for 15 plus years, 20 years in real estate. My father was a real estate agent, he still is. So second generation realtor, third in my family to sell real estate. We focus on the Sherman Oaks area of Los Angeles. And today we're going to dive into how to sell your home in Sherman Oaks. I'm going to work through some of our top home tips for sellers based on the results that we've seen with our group, or the name of our group is Alan Taylor Real Estate Group. So whether you're thinking about listing soon or just want to understand how it actually works, we're going to cover everything from pricing and prep to marketing strategies and more. So thank you guys again for joining us today. I'm going to show you some things during this video to help illustrate some of the stuff that we're talking about. The first and most important thing, let me share my screen, is how you prepare your home for sale. How you prepare your home for sale. These are the top things that we've done. Now, when we talk about preparing your home for sale, we talk about how a home is presented to marketplace. So when the home is presented to the marketplace, it first is shown through the MLS online, whether it's Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com. That's how people are looking at homes today. So number one, the quality of the photograph is obviously very important, but how all of your personal property inside the house is organized and staged has a very positive impact on the way the photographs look. Right? If I've got too many items, the wrong color walls, dark colored carpeting, what have you, then it almost doesn't matter how much of a good job we do with the photos. What people see in the photo itself is going to influence whether they come and see the house. And so that's why we have a section for preparing your home for sale in terms of making cosmetic upgrades. So there's the two factors, right? One is the personal property inside your house in each room, and the other is the cosmetic look of your house. Let's say you painted your house a nice yellow color over time, but with sunlight and sun damage, that color has kind of faded. It still shows up as yellow in the photos and the video. And so when people have a hard time envisioning the way they're going to see themselves living in a house, they make a pretty quick reaction. It's really interesting how fast somebody can say no to a house just based on looking at in the photos. I do it all the time. I look at a house, I look at the first couple photos, and I make a quick judgment on it. So how you get your house ready, what you do to it, has a huge impact on the way people will feel about it. Simple yet impactful updates can make all the difference. Freshly painted, creamy white walls, well manicured landscaping, retrofit LED lighting. We can talk about that for a second. A lot of our houses built in the 1950s don't have recessed lighting in them, or maybe they do have recessed lighting, but they were done 15 or 20 years ago. And sometimes the can recessed lights, they have either the gold or the black around, and so the aesthetic isn't quite as modern as the new retrofit LED light. You can get retrofit LED lights. I'll even show you right now. Retrofit LED light, Amazon. You can buy a box of these. This is them right here. Here's a 12 pack for $59. And these right here, you see these little kits? Those basically will snap right into your existing cans. They're flush mounted with the ceiling, and it gives a really modern look. So that's something that we do that makes a difference in the way a room feels. So you combine like a fresh paint with a retrofit LED light, and then all of a sudden the space feels like a brand new modern house. There's probably a little bit more that you have to do. Obviously flooring is another big deal. I'm going to talk about chandeliers for a second before I talk about flooring, since we're on lighting. But here's like black wire chandeliers. Let's just keep it with Amazon. These types of chandeliers, like this one right here, $279, replaces an old chandelier that's been in a living room. It is the same exact chandelier somebody would put in a brand new $4 million house. $279, maybe $400 or $500 installed. Those are, that's another trick to presenting a home in a modern space. to the marketplace that will have a positive impact on the final selling price of the home. Flooring. This is a 1950s house. You can see the flooring there. This is a nice light color. A lot of the 1950s ranch homes that we sell, they either have carpeting on top of the wood, or the wood itself is like a dark colored wood, which isn't in demand for today, right? So around $3.50 to $4 per square foot, you can sand and refinish floors. You can also go with a luxury vinyl. Let's say you don't have wood floors under there, or you think the luxury vinyl is going to be a less expensive way of doing it. $1.49 per foot. $1.49 per foot. It's luxury vinyl, it's durable, it's waterproof. It can sometimes go right on top of the old wood floors. You know, the floor installer is gonna have to take down your baseboards, repaint your walls. So there's going to be some expense, but you know, for a few $1,000s, depending on the size of your house, you can massively transform the way your home looks. Okay. Now, this seminar isn't intended to be a home remodeling seminar. You know, this is just more or less tips and tricks of the trade on how to present the best possible product to the market. And so what we do is we bring in an interior designer and our years of knowledge, and we help our clients come up with the strategy that works for them to best prepare their home for sale. And sometimes we don't really do anything cosmetic to the house. Sometimes it's just a matter of taking the existing furnishings and organizing them, decluttering, you know, working with an interior designer at $150 an hour with a little bit of like heavy lifting labor, you know, for $1,000 in one day, you can transform the way your home looks on the inside. You can go to Home Goods and get a few cool art pieces to put them on the wall. A lot of times we go into sellers' houses and the houses are in great shape and there's really not much we can do that we need to do, and we just need to move a few things. So, you know, one way or another, whatever you decide to do to your house will have a positive impact on the way the market reacts to it. And we've had a lot of success putting a little effort and time and energy into getting the house ready. So next, I'm going to talk about maximizing value with Compass Concierge. Compass Concierge is a program where you can borrow up to $40,000 interest-free. It's just the capital. It's access to the capital. You pay it back at the close. You can work with your own vendors, or you can use our vendors and invest that money into your property to sell it for more. What we typically tell our clients is for every dollar that you put into your house, you get that same dollar back plus a minimum of 2, if not 3 more, and sometimes 4. So I'll give you an example. On a ranch house that's $1.6 million to $2 million, if you spend $25,000 on the house, you're going to get 100 more, right? Most of the time, I think we get that initial investment of 25 back, and the sale price rises by 100 grand. So that can pay for all of your closing costs. It can pay for a year's tuition. It could pay for amazing travel overseas. What we do is we restore ranch homes. Our primary bread and butter is restoring ranch homes for market. I've got a listing for sale right now on Hesby, 13024 Hesby. I can show that one to you. This is one where the client used concierge, and we went in there. We worked with their existing furniture. We did this one on a dime. So we did it on a budget, okay? This is our listing. Probably should have just gone to my website, but I'll show you guys. So these are nighttime shots. We seeded the lawn and made the grass fresh. Parkway wasn't looking good, so we just pulled that up and just did some bark mulch and flagstones, you know, flagstone pavers. All the landscaping and the lighting was already there. Painted the exterior of the house, pressure washed. I'll show you the inside of the house. Left the original oak floors, didn't have to do anything on those, just gave them a cleaning. Painted the walls fresh white, and then stage the existing furnishing. So it's hard to tell, but there was so much more furniture in this space. This long couch was over here, and this one was over here, and they had a chair there. So there's just too much stuff in there. You know, we organized every little detail, all of the existing personal property, and just staged it with their existing stuff. We changed these light fixtures right here. She already had the retrofit LED lights, so we didn't have to do anything there. We didn't have to do anything here other than we staged it. I think she rented this furniture here. She had a table with chairs, so we staged it with this to make like an outdoor sitting area. The kitchen was original. We really didn't do much to it other than paint it and make it fresh. We fixed some of the cabinetry that looked like it had water damage on it just to make it fresh. So I think all in she spent about $25,000, and we have multiple offers on this property right now. So, and you can see, I mean, she's living in this house, right? It looks like it's, you know, she had a gigantic hutch that was here. This piece was over on that wall. I mean, it was just stacked with I think we wound up going to Home Goods and getting this rug. So this is a home where someone's lived in. The alternative is to move out of it and have it staged professionally. And you can hire a staging company. That usually runs for a 2,000 square foot house, usually between $500 and $7,500. 7,500 for a really good stager who's well known. If you shop around, maybe 4 or 5, but it might look sparse and not be that great. That's the range today. So that's what we did on that one. So that is, some more examples of what we do. We've talked a lot about how to present your home to market, what to do. Before we talk about pricing, let me share another thing. Sometimes we get clients who come to us and the house that they're selling is in disrepair and it's been lived in for a very long time, or it's just been lived in a very long time and it's in disrepair. Sometimes it's better not to do anything to the house and sell it as is. And the way we go about selling the home as is in one of two ways. Number one is we inventory the physical condition of the property. There's two ways to do that. Number one is to have everything physically inspected like they do in Northern California. So in Northern California, when you sell a house, you do all the inspections ahead of time. You can get a general, sewer, chimney, roof, termite. You get all those reports together, you hand it to the buyer and you say, look, here's the product. And if you price it, low enough or well enough, you get multiple people interested in the property. They compete for it. They know the condition of the house, and it creates an environment where the deal goes through smoother as is. Another option, if you don't want to do all the inspections of your house ahead of time, is to visually inspect the condition of the house. We can look at the age of the roof. We can look at the permits to see when the roof was put on. We can look at the electrical panel. If it's original, we make sure they know it. If the heating and air is low, we make sure they know it. We can assume that a masonry fireplace built in a 1950s ranch home is probably not fire safe. So we can let them know that. I mean, you could have a sewer line company come out, pop the clean out off, inspect the sewer line before you sell, and get yourself to the position where you have a pretty good idea. You can have a plumber crawl underneath the house and just look and see if there's any leaks to fix. So we can go about it that way and to some degree create an environment where the buyer is aware of the physical condition of the house and we sell it, as is. The third option is one where, like, if you're selling a probate that requires court confirmation, those houses are sold 100% as is. And when you get your offer accepted, you have to write a cashier's check in the amount of 10% made payable to the estate. It means you're not getting the money back unless you get overbid in court. Under that type of sale, you price it very fairly. You give everyone 2 weeks to go and do whatever inspections they want to the house. And when offers are written, there's no contingencies of any kind. So there are ways to sell your home as is with reduced contingencies, reducing headache and stress. So as you can see, we talked about a variety of ways to get your house ready for sale. Go all the way and fix it up to, giving people 2 weeks to inspect and telling them, I'm going to switch. So I talked about concierge. We're going to switch over to pricing. Now, pricing, I'm going to see if I can come up with some pricing graphs. Real estate pricing graph. So here's home pricing bell curve. I should be able to find this one. Here you go. This is it. This isn't the exact one. A lot of these have to do with like values over time, but pretend this is like 0 days on the market is here and 30 days is on the market here. Okay. So when you first come out in the multiple listing service, that's when the most amount of people are looking at your house, the first 7 days. And with the transparency in the marketplace today, like how fast people can get access to information, they're really seeing it honestly in the first 2 or 3 days. But I would say you've got 5 or 7 days to get somebody to say, yes, I want to come and see this house, or it needs too much work, it's overpriced, I'm not interested. So once you get into the 30-day range, the amount of people that are looking at the house goes drastically down. Until you reduce it again, you don't get that many people into the house. So that begs pricing strategies where one doesn't overprice their house. Okay. Every seller has 3 different options. Okay. Number one is I am not ready to sell my house. If somebody pays a price I'm happy with, I'll sell. Right. So we call that I'm not ready to sell. Well, let's just put it up there at a high number. The other one is to try to look at the comparable sales and come up with a pricing strategy that is in line with the house that looks the most like mine that just sold in the last 90 days. And the third option is, in looking with those comps, is to go with a price that is below the last few comps. And so the pricing option number 2, where you try to find the closest comp to yours and price it right where they wound up, is likely to result in the house being sold in 30 days. The first option, I'm not really ready to sell my house, could result in the house being on the market for 90 days, a price reduction, maybe a little bit less momentum. There's the chances of someone selling the house for more money by pricing it higher is less than somebody who prices it lower, and I'll tell you why. Okay. So if you remember the bell curve that we showed you, we're in a value-driven market, okay? And what that means is less people are looking for houses. Let's just all agree, less people are looking for houses for sale today than they were during COVID, during the tail end of COVID. Real estate was never been more desirable. People didn't like their homes. They were moving. Everyone in the United States moved. Some of these houses that we were selling around 2 and 3 million had 20, 30 offers on them. And the houses were going 2 to 3, 4, 500,000 over the asking price. With today's higher interest rates and the recent fires and some uncertainty with respect to insurability, California Fair Plan still writing. There's obviously our political climate is creating some uncertainty, especially with tariffs in the private equity and in the M&A world. There's a lot of wait and see. The good news is that there's not a lot of inventory. And when you really break it down into like a geographical neighborhood, let's say a half-mile radius in a certain school district, I want something that looks clean to move in, you really narrow it down to only a handful of listings. And so it's propping up the value of the house. If you had 10 or 12 houses just like yours in your neighborhood that came up for sale at the same time, the market value would go straight down, because all the buyers would be like, well, wait a minute, there's all these choices. Right now, we're in a value-driven market. So the buyers that are out there looking right now are basically saying, I'm looking for something that's a value. So the moment you bring out a good-looking product that's priced fairly, all of the buyers in that marketplace are going to go look at the house on Friday and Sunday. They're all going to be in the living room. And once they get in the living room, if they see themselves wanting to live in that house, they're going to compete for it. Don't ask me why. And obviously sorry about the siren behind me here. It's interesting. A lot of people get desperate when they're looking for a house. They get tired. Maybe they're in a time crunch. They're just on a job relocation. They're getting a divorce, busting out of their seams. They just sold their house and they're in a lease back. There are situations where people get to the point where they've got to do whatever it takes to buy a house. And we've seen this so many times when we come out at a fair price and the market just goes, but somebody ultimately comes up and offers an extra $50,000 or $100,000 to get the house. So pricing is so incredibly important, and buyers can instantly recognize a great deal. Pricing too high can push potential buyers away. That's pretty much, put it this way, just to close this on the pricing side, the more interest there is in your house, the more people that come to see it, the higher the price will ultimately be. And there's only one way to do that, and that's to price it fairly. And I'll give you one more example. Let's say your house is worth 1.6. If your house is worth 1.6, you could probably sell it for 1.650 if you price it at 1.499 versus selling it at 1.6. Now, why would that be? The reason for that is because everybody's capped their search at 1.5, and so they never even saw your house in the first place. Same thing with the house that's worth 3.1 or 3.2. You can ask 3.2 and you may get it. You probably will get it. But if you came down to 2.998 and had all these flooded, 3, 4, 5 offers on the property, that forces the price up to that market price, ensures that you sell quickly, gives you the best contingencies, and gets you the price that you're looking for. So there's a lot of value in pricing fairly. We talked about improvements that make the greatest ROI. Talked about how to sell your home as is, how to avoid costly repair requests. We've talked about that. We talked about how to access Compass Concierge. And I think now we're heading towards the end of the seminar here, which is marketing your home, okay? I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that I can share about the home selling process. If anybody would like to make comments in the chat after I finish talking about the marketing of your home, I'm happy to answer some questions. So please feel free to go ahead and put some questions in the chat. All right, so marketing your home. So today we're in a video first where people like to consume things online and they definitely love video. So telling a story via video presents such a tremendous opportunity to convey a message and to connect with people about a home. The old way of doing it was you'd take a few photos, you'd put it in the MLS, and you'd have a written description, and someone would make an emotional decision on whether or not to come and see your house based on a photo they saw and the written description. You know, they say picture's worth 1,000 words. I think the right video could be worth 1,000,000. There's music, there's movement. It could be fun, it could be entertaining, it could be interesting. There could be more things told about the video. I'll give you an example. Why don't I just go back to the Hesby property and I'll show you an example of the video that we did. And we do walkthrough videos and we do all sorts of videos online. We have a YouTube channel. I can show you that in a minute. Here's our video. I'm assuming you guys can hear this, so I hope you can.
What's up, guys? Welcome to our newest listing in the coveted Hidden Woods section of Sherman Oaks, California, 13024 Hesby Street in this beautiful William Mellentine Ranch traditional that you are absolutely gonna love. We've got character, charm, history. You are absolutely gonna love this house. Come on, let's take a look. Nestled in the best location within the coveted Hidden Woods section of Sherman Oaks, California, this classic Mellentine rests on a beautifully landscaped, nearly 8,000 square foot lot with iconic birdhouse cupola above the garage, diamond pane picture windows, and flagstone walkways leading to the classic front porch.
So you guys can get the idea of video and how impactful that can be for garnering interest online. It's just the most powerful way to capture interest. You know, a well-crafted home story creates an emotional connection, it drives engagement, and it attracts more potential, buyers. Let's talk, oh, this is a good one. Let's talk about driving the price. Or we could talk about the Compass three-phase marketing plan, if you will. So driving the price. So, you've done whatever you're going to do to prepare your home for sale. You've priced it. You've hired a really good realtor who's done a really good job marketing the house. How do we really drive the price, especially if we're going to go low? And the way to do that is to control the timing of the market. And we do that using the Compass three-phase marketing strategy. So step number one of that is to let people know about the house before it comes online. So Compass has this private exclusive, which it allows us to put information about your house online so that all the Compass agents in all of Los Angeles can see it, or all over the United States. So they're already calling me asking questions about the house. They're already saying, can I show it? Most of the time, we ask the sellers to give us a week in advance for early showings. If somebody wants to write a crazy offer, that's up to them. But most of the time, we tell people we're not looking at any offers until after the first open house, after it's been in the MLS. So you do a coming soon marketing play. You do private exclusive, then coming soon. So we could do the week before. We could do private exclusive for a week. And sometimes, for a $2 or $3 million property or a $3.5 million property, we just don't have the great comps to tell us what the home is worth. We just don't have it. And so we're really looking for the market to tell us. And there's a lot of anxiety over picking the right price, right? If you price it too high, it could wind up in having the property sit and ultimately costing money. So how do we help our clients make sure they choose the right price? What we do is we use the Compass three-phase marketing plan. We do private exclusive. We get it in the MLS. On Compass Private Exclusive, and we invite people to come and take a look at it. We'll do a catered event at the house. We'll do an off-market open house. We'll invite our top broker buddies to come over. We'll just get people in it, get feedback, see what showings we can get, and get information. Now, the obviously benefit of that is we know where the market is, or we have some idea, and that gives us confidence with the price that we go out to market. But the second and most important thing is we've already mobilized the market onto our listing, so that when we go into the MLS on a Monday, it syndicates immediately to Trulia, Zillow, Realtor.com, and we have our first open house on Friday from 11 to 2, and then Sunday or Saturday sometimes from 1 to 4 or 2 to 5, and then Sunday from 1 to 4 or 2 to 5. So imagine we've been marketing this house for 2 weeks, and sometimes, depending on the situation, no one's seen the house until that first Friday open house and that Sunday open. So that's called herding I call it herding the cattle. Forgive me for saying it that way. It's getting all of the buyers together in the house at the same time. If I just get the photos in the list in the video back and I just slam it into the MLS and somebody says I want to come on Tuesday and they're the only people in the house, it's not going to feel the same way to them than if they come to the house during the Friday open or the Sunday open and they see or feel a lot of activity. Now, let's say I'm going to do a private showing and there are no open houses. Then what we would do simply is we would bunch the showings together and I would try to do either 2 or 3 showings at once, right? Have a showing at 2, a showing at 2:15, a showing at 2:45, or 2, 2:30, and 3. That way, when somebody comes out, boom, they see the next person coming in. It's all about creating a sense of urgency that the house is in demand. And that's one of the best strategies that I've come up with in my career to help drive the price. I think that's pretty much it, guys. I'm going to look and see what comments there are or any questions in the chat. My contact information, I'll say it out loud, is 818-217-1767. You don't really need to worry about writing that down. If you just Google Alan Taylor Real Estate, you'll be able to find me. It looks like there's no questions in the chat. Let me see. Oh, I live out of the area, but I appreciate, Sherry, you're so welcome. I appreciate you're coming to our seminar and learning more about what we are and who we are and what we do. Karen, Eve, or Danny, any questions that you guys have? Karen, I feel like we've met before. You look familiar to me. All right, guys. Oh, Karen, you're muted.
I unleashed the wrong thing.
How are you doing?
You've had a lot of open house. I was just at the Hesby Street house.
Oh, that's right. Okay, cool.
I really liked it.
It's a cute house, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I really appreciate your coming by. We've got a couple offers on the house, and you can see she did a really good job of getting it ready. I think all in she spent around 20. She interviewed several painters, and did a good job of getting the bids down and did really well for herself. So, what are your thoughts on the current market conditions and what advice would you give someone looking to buy or sell now? Really good question, Eve. Market conditions now are, again, it depends on the price. It depends on the value of the house and the price range. So if you are in the, let's say you're in the $1 to $2 million range and you're in the Sherman Oaks area, for example, there's not that much competition. And there's still plenty of demand in that price range. So you can actually still do very well. Whereas conversely, the higher end, once you get above 3 million in the Sherman Oaks area, especially new construction, there's a lot more on the market. And so there's a lot of price sensitivity. But some people have to sell the house this year. And, it's April 2nd. This is the time of year when people are going to need to sell. Not need to sell. This is the time of year that is most advantageous when the most amount of people are looking. So if you're on the buy side, I've been hearing it's a buyer's market. What does that mean? Thanks for the question, Danny. Buyer's market means during COVID, it was a seller's market. Let's say there was only one house for sale and 100 buyers for it. So that's obviously a seller's market. When there's only a handful of when there's a handful of buyers and there's 10 or 12 or 13 listings and there's a lot of inventory in a specific price range, that means that price range is shifted over toward the buyer's market. It means the buyer can be selective. They can take their time. Houses are sitting on the market longer. Where right now the market action index is around 30, according to Altos, which basically means we're on average as a community, a balanced market. But again, this house on Hesby, it's still a seller's market for that house because there's only one Hesby for sale. There may be 1 or 2 houses that are coming up for sale, and there's still a good 5 to 10, families looking to buy at any particular time. So yeah. All right, guys, I think that's pretty much it. I really appreciate everyone joining us, Karen and Sherry and Eve and Danny. Really appreciate your joining us. Home Seller Seminar. Please reach out if you have any questions. Again, Alan Taylor with the Alan Taylor Real Estate Group. Thanks so much for being here and hope you have a wonderful evening. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you. You too.
Yeah. Okay, bye-bye.